Okay. Again, one of my jobs is to query expenditures. Okay, we had a $3,900 bill for renting the voting machines. Now, we didn't get the information about this until essentially the 11th hour when we had the first meeting. And at that time, I asked of staff, did you do
I
the cost benefit
think I asked
analysis?
the councillors that voted yes.
I just asked the moderator if I may
Yes,
speak.
sorry.
I asked Karen, I guess, at that meeting, did you do a cost benefit analysis? You know, what, and all I was asking was how much. I had no problems with voting machines. I wanted to know what were we going to actually save in staff time, the number of hours they have to do the counting, whatever else. It was not a no vote based on anything else other than trying to get information. Now, she came back at the Wednesday morning meeting and I asked her, did she do any of that? In the meantime, I had done some research and I checked with 6 communities, like-sized communities in BC, and of those, 5 had no intention of using voting machines. One, I think it was Chase BC, was going to do it, and they found that they had 2,500 people. They found it was going to cost them $2,000 more than the normal budget, which was normally $6,000. So from 6, they were going to 8. Okay, so 1 out of 6 was doing it, none of the others were doing it. I was just asking about these things, and I was giving that information. The incredible thing that, you know, when I think about it, as a finance committee member, we should have been doing a little bit more due diligence. We went from $9,000 to $15,000 as a cost of the election. And at that time, voting machines weren't on the horizon. Nobody mentioned it to us whatsoever. Somehow, it just got through our process of deliberations. All I was asking was, are we going to save money? Is it going to be worthwhile? I was not voting for anything else other than trying to get that information.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just wanted to add one more election cost expenditure that we had in this term, and that was for $4,240.62. I know that because I was the acting mayor at the time and signed the check. This cost was because we had to hire Ms. Morton. We weren't able to use our own in-house elections officer because I'm afraid that motion was not passed by Councillor Piamonte and Seneca. So this was an additional cost or an additional election expense that we incurred this year. It was not terribly necessary. Thank you.
Hi, Michelle Udinski, 1010 Sugarmount Way. Thank you all for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. My question is for Larry Barron. Earlier in the evening, there was a question asked, how do you plan to take care of our funding for infrastructure within the village? In your response, you chose to disagree and find fault with 2 other candidates' answers instead of providing any ideas. You are asking for a seat on council. What I witnessed tonight with many of your responses is to criticize and blame instead of providing solutions and showing me a vote that counts. How you plan to work together to move this village forward. If you are elected in this council, is this more of what we can expect from you?
I really thank you for asking me the question, because this format is really frustrating where you get 2 minutes to put forward everything that's occurred over the last 3 years. And I know that you probably haven't, but I put out a number of articles which people may have read on the Anmore, and those are in-depth examinations of what got on here. They're not 2-minute sound bites. So the frustration is that I've got 2 minutes.
This is providing us, the voters, with who you are. Who are you going to be on our council?
Yeah, right.
What I'm asking, is this more of what we have to come if you are
Well, could
elected?
you let me answer the question?
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Well, the simple answer is that there's a number of things I would like to do on council, and the most important thing, I think, is the environmental protection. I think that's the thing that I find most important of all after open government.
That's great, but you are criticizing everybody's answers tonight and blaming.
What's this? Well, no, I don't think that's fair to say that. I'm not given the opportunity properly in this format to say what I would like. And what I would do is I would take a look at the village finances and I would plan for the future. I wouldn't do everything at the last minute like the mayor wants to do. I would take a look at 5 years down the road and I would plan next month.
Was that necessary to criticize?
Okay, that's the last.
I'm done.
Andrew Robertson. My question is for Heather Anderson. Mayor Anderson, you state that you will ensure the values in Anmore's official community plan are reflected in future developments, and you will initiate a review of Anmore's official community plan, which includes substantial public involvement. Your platform lists item after item of accomplishments and years of so-called experience with councillors, committees, councils, groups and commissions, yet you instigate and allow Anmore's secrecy bylaw to be adopted, a bylaw which takes away the abilities of our councillors to work on our behalf and limits public access to information, including information such as fiscal irresponsibility. We're not talking about $1,000 or $19,000, but Axiom multiplex, Avion multiplex lawsuits, which may be between 50 and 100,000 feathers, dollars. That's a substantial amount, not $1,000. And it limits the public's access to information. With that in mind, how are you going to implement these promises of substantial public input?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Robertson. I want to address this because this comment has been made numerous times tonight, and it's difficult because there have been references made to lawsuits that have been dealt with in camera. We deal with legal issues in camera for a very important reason. That's to protect the village interests. When I got on as mayor, and I'd never seen this happen before, I became aware there were some leaks of in-camera information. There were people in the public
That's
that were...
a lie.
No, it is not.
Oh, come on.
I became aware of statements being made by people that were statements that they should not have had the documents, and they knew information that was in camera. So what we did, there is no secrecy bylaw. Can you imagine having a secrecy bylaw? That's just the most... I can't even, it's ridiculous. We have an Anmore procedural bylaw that governs how our meetings are run. And what we did, we changed two things in that bylaw. One was to say that you couldn't audio tape in-camera meetings, because some members of our council were doing that. And the second is that if for confidential information, you would come to the meeting, it would be there, you would read it, and then you would have our lawyer there or our staff there to provide the background information and advice you needed. And the doctors would leave. This happens in other places. I attend Metro Vancouver board meetings. I arrive at the meetings and there's in-camera documents that are on my table and that are picked up afterwards. It happens at Translate meetings I go to. I know it happens in the city of Vancouver as well. This is nothing, we did not reinvent the wheel. Those two things. These are to protect the village interests. So we then had the lawsuit that came from that from Mr. Barry and his wife with supporting affidavits from Councillor Piamonte and Councillor Settergren, which still unfortunately hasn't been resolved yet. The Avion lawsuit is still ongoing. They filed a court claim, court documents at the beginning of the summer, and we haven't heard anything since. I don't know why that is. There is no date. I don't know what's going to happen with that court case. It seems nothing has progressed to my knowledge at this time. So, and then because it's still possibly a court case, I don't know, we have to wait and see until there's an outcome to that decision. So the openness, when you refer to my election brochures and what I've said, I support the idea that we have open meetings, that we talk to people, that we have our committee structures in place. I've chaired most of the committees that exist in this village over the years I've been involved in council. I've solicited advice and support from numerous Anmore residents, and I've listened to concerns, and with our official community planning process, we've had huge, comprehensive, year-long processes to make sure everybody's had a chance to give input and advice into how we move forward in this village. I have done that for more than 16 years. In this instance, I am protecting the village's interest because as mayor, we need to do that. If I didn't, I'd be derelict in my duties.
The other question.
You might want to tell us what you'll do.
This was in court, and at that point, they had every opportunity to bring forward this evidence of leaks in front of the judge, and they couldn't do it. And so for
because there weren't any leaks.
It's just slimy to suggest it.
You're slimy.
Sorry, you That's enough, please.
But at least they're allowed to do their homework, which they're not allowed to by...
Okay, it's not a meeting club, go ahead.
As you know, I'm standing on really the platform that we need respect for each other. And one of the things that doesn't help is when inflammatory rhetoric is used to describe common events. And using things like a secrecy bylaw to describe a procedural bylaw, I think is totally inappropriate. And I'd also like to support Mayor Anderson in what she's saying. In Vancouver, when documents went missing from one of their in-camera meetings, there was actually a police investigation. Because if those documents are removed from the council chamber, it's in fact a theft. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm afraid to pass to your question. Next question.
Hi, I'm Carmen Camillo. I'm at 2055 East Road, and this question is directed towards John. I'm wondering if you can, there's been a lot of talk about the Anmore Energy Renewable Foundation, and I'm wondering if you can comment if there's any cost incurred towards the village.
There's been a lot of folklore about the Anmore Energy Foundation since my time on council. About 3 months ago, we got an official letter from Western Diversification saying there was no attachment with the actual village of Anmore and the Anmore Energy Foundation. So that's the easy question to say. There's been so many innuendos made from certain people saying that Councillor Palmer Isaak and myself were appointed trustees. Both of us actually made a public comment at a council meeting a couple summers ago to the fact that we never sat at a meeting, we were never signed anything. The actual foundation was defunct when it was even proposed if we wanted to get involved in it. So the short answer is that the foundation has no attachment to the village, so it really doesn't even warrant even being discussed at the council table.
Thank you. Next question. I have two opportunities for questions. There's 10 minutes tonight. Everybody wants a final minute, which you'll get. Everyone. So your question, please, who's directed to, and your name.
Linda Weinberg. My question's directed to Mr. Barron. Mr. Barron, in court, when you were arguing your wife's suit against the village, you stated to the judge that the bylaw was passed by a near majority. Now, I really would like to know your definition of a democracy. In my mind, a majority does not actually ever have the word mere in front of it.
Well, what that refers was that these three, Councillor McEwen and Councillor Isaak and the mayor, vote as a little clique. And they do it on important issues. And they did it when they approved in secret your subdivision relaxation that you did on October 4th in secret. Would you like me to go on?
When is a majority not a majority?
Next question, please.
If you are not
Next question, please.
Okay, I'm ready. My name's Lee Bishloff. I was a counselor here for 6 years. I've worked with many of you in different committees. Just one comment, and then I'll get right to my question. It isn't a fact that every councillor gets a key and has 24/7 access to the village, so you actually are able to get access to documents at times that will work for you. So you actually will not have difficulty doing your homework on secret or in-camera items. Anyways, the question is directed to Mr. Piamonte. I believe you've been through councillor training, and if you haven't, you should have gone. General voting rules, section 123 of the community charter states if a council member does not indicate how he or she votes, the member is deemed to have voted in the affirmative. So given that one could assume you know that, I do not understand, and perhaps you could explain why there are so many motions as reported that you abstained, because in fact that is an incorrect method of voting yes.
There are times when, first of all, abstention is a vote for, okay? by definition. I did go to counselor school, and I understand fully what it means, and I abstain at times because I don't necessarily want to say yes, but I definitely can't vote no. It's my way of just basically not giving a yes or no because I can't.
Thank you. Do you have a question directed to one councilor? Your name, your question.
Bronco Cathcart, 25 Richmond Road. This question is directed to Mr. Barron. On the Anmore Alternative News website, you repeatedly refer to Anmore Council as, and I quote, the ruling clique. How do you align your decision to run for council with your obvious disdain for democratically elected authority?
Well, I take issue, in fact, I have an incredible amount of respect for democratic authority, and that's exactly why we brought the lawsuit against the village, because I'm so concerned about what's going on here. Basically the secret information, the decisions made in secret. Councillor Dishloff says that, gives the impression that things were hunky-dory now. Well, then why was there a need to change the bylaw? Why was there a need to bring in this secrecy provision? So